Well, hello there. Welcome once more to Crunchwise Kitchen. And if this is your first time stopping by, I'd like to say a very warm welcome to you. It is breakfast o'clock. And yes, today I'm sharing with you how I make my spiced corn porridge. Yes, and aburo koko. This is a very simple breakfast that your family would definitely love. I hope you give this a try. For this, you will need some corn dough, which we call mmore. Among the accounts, I have some chili flakes in place of dried peppers. I have ginger and some hwentea, which we call negro peppers or grains of selim. So to start, I'm going to just grind all my spice together. And I'm using the earthenware pot. What I find also to be useful is sometimes I just make a big batch of these spices, so I could do it in the blender. Yeah, I'm not going to be slaving if I don't really need to. But today I'm just making a little batch, and I thought to let you, go the very traditional way. But you could make a big batch and then freeze or refrigerate and just scoop about a spoonful or whatever, how much you need. But today I'm just going to go the long, hard way, doing it very traditional whilst having some fun. Yes, this is going to be some good breakfast. Brings so many memories of when I was growing up in my parents' house. Almost everything was homemade. It's either we ate something made from home or very typically we'll eat from one of my aunties. All my mom's sisters were are food vendors. So breakfast was typically something like this: porridge. We'd make any kind of porridge, oatmeal, or just tea with bread and egg. And my little brother, his favorite was always porridge. So one time he went to the kitchen and asked my cousin, "Sister, join a yedi there?" And she's like, "And I have tea." And he goes, "The tea. It's a mutimin koko kakrampo." And this is just because we had gone 2 days without having porridge. Yes, this is how good it is. And he still loves porridge up to this day. And this video is specially dedicated to you and whoever is going to marry my brother. Yes, that is the secret to his heart. Koko. And watch how his sister is making it. Okay, anyway, so I just added some water to my ground spice and I'm just straining it right now. And that is all. So I'm straining it. I added a total of about 4 cups of water to strain. And so you see this very colorful, strong, aromatic juice that I have derived from my spice. And now I add my cornmeal. Typically, I don't strain my cornmeal. So I'm just adding it in here now. And if you feel like you need to strain your cornmeal, you could go ahead and strain it. But I'm not straining this. And cornmeal you can find in the African market. You can buy your own corn flour and mix it with water and ferment. And that's what I typically do. So I know what is in here. There's nothing, that I don't desire to be in here. So I just mixed it and now I set it on my stove top and I'm going to cook this. So by making your porridge, you're going to stir continuously until it starts thickening up. And that is what I'm going to be doing now, which will take anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes, depending on how heavy your pot is and the quantity and temperature of water you use to mix this. I would normally mix this with just a little bit of cold water or in a temperature of water that I can dip my hands into and add some boiling or hot water to it before I mix it, so that way you don't stand stirring forever. Anyway, my porridge is thickened now and I think it is getting a little too thick. We don't want impampa, Dabi, and I pampa how impampa is just prepared the same way, but we would have added palm oil, and that is another traditional Akan way of making porridge, which is more like not a breakfast kind of food. But anyway, we want this to be breakfast porridge, white porridge, or creamy porridge. So I added just about a half a cup of water to loosen it up a little bit, and feel free to add as much water as you want depending on the consistency you want. I want mine to be thick, but not as thick as it was before. So this right now is my go-to consistency. Perfect. And I'm just going to let it boil over, bubble gently this way on a low to medium heat for about 3 minutes, just so your porridge is well cooked. And then I'll add my salt and sugar. And one thing about corn porridge or aburo koko is you have to be just a little bit more generous on the salt for you to have a perfect balance between the saltiness and the sweetness. You know, for you to have a very good tasting porridge, you need to add just a little bit more salt than you typically would. I don't know why, but that is what I've come to find, and I think a lot of people will agree with me. So anyway, after the salt, I've added my sugar as well. I like to add my sugar whilst it is still cooking and then just let it boil over. And at this point, I'm going to turn off, which I just did. And the sugar, if we feel like we need any more extra, we could always add a little bit at the table. But my mom always prefers to add all the sugar while she cooks it because she says it's a good way to ensure your porridge doesn't get runny whilst you eat it. So anyway, I have poured everything into my serving bowl now, and I'm taking this to the table. And as you can see, I have some freshly baked bread. There's a sugar bread and whole wheat bread right here waiting, and this was so good. And I have recipes for both loaves here on the channel, and I hope you try them. We love homemade bread, and I haven't bought bread in like forever. This breakfast, I tell you, was the rather much needed breakfast on this quite cold morning. So this kept us warm, but of course it put us in this state of just wanting to be lazy, idle, and just retiring straight to bed. And that is why we call this shabre. You know, like back in the day, this is the worst breakfast they could serve in the dining hall in secondary school, because you eat this and you go sit in class. Boy, are you gonna be able to keep those eyes open? Not me, and not my husband. You don't give him this and expect him to be productive, you know. So corn porridge typically pairs beautifully with evaporated milk. So if you can help it, try it with evaporated milk. That is the best way to enjoy it. And so here's a bite to you, and I hope you give this a try. I know you will love it. And until I come your way next time with something delicious, be loving, be kind, be happy.